Someone have something to share?
The Lord actually began a vision today as you shared your testimony. I think you just brought the end of it. This happens more frequently. It was revealed kind of out of order, so I'm going to reveal it in the order it's supposed to flow in. The first thing that was seen as you were sharing, and so Tim, I think you are there's a figure in the vision itself that I could not see your face, but I think it is you. The impression I have is that it's you because it started as you were sharing. The first thing you see is it's a world map, flat, but it looks like a blueprint. And so you can see like land masses, but it has that like dark blue, like blueprint feel to it. And you swoop down into it almost like from an aerial view, and then the blueprint becomes like a 3D model. And I noticed like really quickly that it's a city, and it's not one singular city, but it's many different cities. So you can see like Eiffel Tower, you can see like Greek things, you can see Egyptian, and so it's like the cities of the world are in one unified city. After tracking all of these things in a like a 3D model, it then turns into the physical realm, physical world. So it's an actual city. And you zoom in on a Colosseum, perfectly circular Colosseum. On the exterior, it looks very much like a Greek Colosseum, but on the interior, there are multiple rings. There are 5 separate rings around what would be, I guess, the stadium flooring. And these rings look like silver, but they're tarnished. But into each ring itself are like many like steps, and so there's people seated much like they would be at a Colosseum, but they were cheering, and there was a lot of like screaming and shouting, and it felt very much like worshiping the event. But there wasn't an event in the center. In the center you see on the ground, it is like a valley, a desolate valley. And so many rocks and like sharp. And then there was, again, like a shaking, an earthquake, and the winds violently picking up. And you begin to picture, this is where the figure that I think represented you, you begin to run from one of the outer rings down, while everyone else was just like caught up. Everyone else was almost caught up in the adventure of it all. Like to them, they seemed to think that the earthquake or the shaking was like part of some kind of production. But there was first you were running down, and this part was the clear part as you were sharing, as things were being shaken. You were talking about it. The vision came as you were talking about just different things that had been shaken in your life, and the way that the Lord was revealing things to you. Running down and getting to this broken place in the middle, and you begin to see a few people. Not many, beginning to rise up from the crowds and coming to the middle ground. Then there's like one last significant shaking, and each of the rings, starting with the outside, immediately just drop down flat, just 1, 2, 3, to like utter destruction. And the middle ground begins to shoot up, and you see a volcano underneath now, what used to be the Colosseum floor. It's exalted, or there's a landmass above the volcano. The volcano spews out lava over the world, or the earth, or the map. And this one like remnant piece of land stands there with different individuals on it. And within that, it began to grow into something that, like land masses that wouldn't have fit in the particular space that it was. But what it grew into were like rolling hills with many sheep, and those who were on the outside or that had come in began to be clothed more in like nomadic dress. But the figure that I believe it's you, was dressed more like a shepherd, because you had a rod in your hand. And then there was you struck the earth, but not in like a violent way, but it was almost like just the earth being the landmass that was there, just like tapping it down, and it began to shake everything again, and the rod that was in your hand became like a torch, and as you held the torch up to the sky, there was a violent explosion of red. It was like blood red, and everything that shot out over now the land and over now the lava flows were like arrows of red with string or rope, something that they were tethered to. Again, the picture was of many people grabbing the rope, similar to the vision that I had at Brother Emmanuel's about holding the line, but many people began to hold the line. The arrows went out and sunk into a new formation, new land formation. It wasn't something that was there before, but it was then God's people pulling together a new heaven, new earth that took over the molten areas. And as it descended down, now the land mass that was hovering goes back down to its place where the Colosseum once stood. The molten lava flows quickly become solid again, and then the land mass, which is all new and lush and beautiful, now sits upon it. But the original land mass remains as like a mountain. It looked more like rolling hills, not like a peak, but more like, soft rolling hills, but built up upon themselves. At which point, there was just one loud blow of a shofar, and that's where it ended.
Definitely think it's some insight into God's end-time work. The emphasis I really think is on the promise, that being the land and the people of God and what they're set apart for in the midst of God's judgment in the world, and the renewal of all things comes from that place. So obviously I want to spend more time on that and maybe receive, and if anyone has any interpretation or input that they want to offer now, that's fine. Otherwise, please take some time